Now, throughout this course, you're going to have one application that you're basically going to be designing for the full length of the class, besides 1 week where you'll kind of take on a commission and work through someone else's problem. But for the whole class, you're going to be working on one application in a couple of different iterations. So, a web application and a mobile application version, okay? So, because of that reason, we really need to come up with a solid idea at the start of class of what we're going to do and have a solid direction. So, a lot of this week is dedicated to planning and mapping out your strategy for tackling this application across the course of the semester. So, I have this really basic application built in Adobe XD that's basically a pet sitting application. And kind of the first thing that I like to do whenever I approach a project like this is I like to think of it as a problem to be solved. So I'll look at my own life and think about an annoyance that I have or a problem that I have, something that, I wish that there was an app that does this. And maybe there already is an app that does this. In fact, there is already an app that does this, one that's called Rover. But I really want an application that lets me work with a pet sitter, easily hire a pet sitter to come to my house, look after my cats and my dogs, and leave, right? I can pay them on the app. I don't have to worry about like vetting them. I can interview them, etc. No big issues there. That's my sort of dream application, at least right now in my life. So moving on from that, uh, you're going to think of what your problem is to be solved. I'm going to bring up one more application, or two more applications actually. We have the Headspace application, which I've talked about in other classes, but this is a meditation app. It also has a beautiful website. But the meditation application, it's on both iOS and Android, solves this problem of how do we get people who aren't meditators or people who don't do meditation to pause and spend X number of minutes a day meditating. There's also this problem that they're solving of like, they have this internal strategy of I want to sell subscriptions, obviously, just like Netflix wants to sell subscriptions. But it's based around solving this problem of how do we get people to learn about this thoughtfulness strategy or to calm themselves down, etc. And meditation apps are really big right now. There's Headspace, there's Calm, there's lots of other ones. So their problem, they tackle their problem and approach it from both a design aspect with the aesthetic of the app, so these little characters and kind of the peacefulness of it, the music and the tonality. We'll get more into the app a little bit later, but I just want to talk about how all of those things are connected. And then we have SwiftKey, which is an application that's a keyboard on both Android and iOS. And this keyboard basically, is solving the problem of how do I make a customizable keyboard? So there's a problem of the keyboards built into Android and built into iOS aren't necessarily customizable. I want to have different colors. I want to be able to have nice predictive text and predictive typing. So how do I solve that? So think of a problem in your own life, in this case, pet sitting, and for me at least, pet sitting, and how can an application solve that problem? So how can an application solve a problem like, I don't know, cleaning your house? All right, so maybe that application could set reminders for you. It could, keep track of like how much, I don't know, detergent you have or something like that. It could say, hey, it's laundry day, you need to do laundry. Maybe a problem that you face is, more financial. Oh, how do I save money? Maybe I have an app, like for instance, Acorns is a very popular money saving app right now that basically rounds up amounts that you spend and saves it into a small savings account. Bank of America has done that for years. Lots of other companies have done that. But it's all about taking this larger problem and then thinking about how can I solve that with an application. So I have a basic mind map here, and you're going to get into mind maps a little bit later. But this is a really bad mind map. Yours should be much better than this. I start with pet sitting and I move on to sort of these three kind of branches of design considerations: pet owners and pet sitters. And what do these two different groups want? What do pet owners want? What do pet sitters want? And how can I connect all those things together with this app? So you're going to do the same thing a little bit later. But for now, just think of that general problem. What's a problem in your actual life? It's much easier to do this if you actually have this problem. Like I actually have a problem with pet sitting. I live in a very rural area. It's difficult for me to have people drive out here and take care of my animals whenever I want to go on vacation or on a trip or something like that. So, how can you solve a problem quickly and easily with an application? Think about that in your real life, and you will be much more inspired to actually work hard on that application. And someday you may actually make that application and, I don't know, make $1 million or something.